So next time you see the smiling face on a KFC bucket, remember this: behind that image lies the extraordinary story of a poor boy from Kentucky who endured failures, built an empire, fought for his values, and left a legacy that still inspires. Friends, do you know who the old man shown in the logo of the world's most famous fast food restaurant, KFC, actually is? In reality, this person is Colonel Harland Sanders, the founder of KFC, whose determination turned fried chicken into a worldwide sensation. Have you ever wondered how a man who once had nothing and faced endless struggles became the face of one of the world's largest fast food empires? His journey is not just about food, but about persistence, patience, and believing in himself against all odds. But what shocking event later occurred that the very company he built with his own sweat and struggle, KFC itself, ended up filing a lawsuit against him? Why did his own creation drag him into court? Today, we'll uncover this unbelievable and emotional true story. In this video, we are going to explore his incredible life story, his childhood, endless failures, struggles, and eventually, how he created a brand that conquered the entire world. This is a tale filled with inspiration, hardship, and ultimate triumph worth remembering forever. So, are you ready to uncover the untold journey of Colonel Harland Sanders, the man behind the crispy chicken millions love today? Stay with us till the end of this video, as every twist will surprise you. Alright friends, let's begin the story right now. Harland Sanders lost his father at only 6 years old, forcing his childhood to end early. While other children played, he cooked meals for his siblings, struggling to keep the family together. Responsibility crushed him young, shaping his resilience and teaching him survival through hardship. At just 7, Sanders became the family cook, preparing bread, vegetables, and meat. His mother worked long hours in factories, leaving him responsible for survival. This early exposure to cooking unknowingly planted the seeds of a future empire built on fried chicken loved worldwide. School never worked for him. Sanders dropped out in 7th grade after constant struggles with studies. Instead of books, life itself became his teacher. He jumped into small jobs, one after another, desperate to survive, facing humiliation yet learning resilience from every rejection and failure. By his teens, he worked as a farmer, a streetcar conductor, and even a railroad fireman. None of these jobs lasted long. He was restless, always searching for stability, but life kept testing him with new hardships, forcing him to start over again. At 20, he briefly joined the U.S. Army, serving in Cuba. Though his role was small, this experience gave him discipline and courage. Still, after leaving, he returned to civilian life without direction, drifting through countless jobs, searching for meaning and battling disappointment every step. After the Army, Sanders worked as a laborer, insurance salesman, and even a lamp manufacturer. But everywhere, misfortune followed him. He was fired repeatedly for not fitting in or arguing with bosses. Failure became his constant companion, but deep down he refused to surrender. His restless journey continued. He became a ferry boat operator, then studied law, but was soon disbarred after a courtroom fight. He later tried selling tires, running a service station, and even offered legal advice without a license. Every attempt collapsed, leaving him broke again. By his 30s, Sanders felt cursed. He had failed at nearly every job he tried. Friends doubted him, society mocked him, and he constantly moved town to town, chasing survival. Yet, hidden within him was an undying belief. Someday, he would achieve greatness. In his 40s, Sanders finally found stability running a service station in Corbin, Kentucky. There, he began cooking meals for travelers, ham, steaks, and especially fried chicken. For the first time, people admired his cooking, planting the first spark of what would later become KFC. He had no fancy restaurant, just a gas station dining area with a few tables. Yet word spread quickly. Travelers loved his fried chicken's flavor. Slowly, Sanders realized his destiny was not in selling oil or tires, but in perfecting the taste of food. Sanders experimented endlessly in his kitchen, mixing herbs and spices, testing recipes, and frying chicken again and again. After years of trial and error, he developed his secret blend of 11 herbs and spices, a recipe so unique it would change the food industry forever. By the 1930s, his fried chicken gained local fame. Sanders perfected pressure frying, a faster method that kept chicken juicy and crispy. Customers loved it, and his roadside cafe became a landmark in Kentucky. Finally, after decades of failures, he had discovered his true calling. Yet challenges never stopped. When a new highway bypassed his restaurant, customer traffic collapsed. Sanders was forced to shut down his business. At 65, nearly broke, most people would have retired defeated. But Sanders, instead, decided to chase his dream bigger than ever. With nothing but his secret recipe and a pressure cooker, Sanders traveled door to door to restaurants across America, offering to cook chicken for owners. If they liked it, he asked only a small commission. Rejected countless times, he still carried hope in his suitcase. At an age when most retired, Sanders began building his empire. Slowly, restaurant owners accepted his recipe. Each franchise spread his name wider, and the legend of Colonel Sanders was born. His struggles had forged a man unbreakable, destined to achieve extraordinary success. By the early 1950s, Sanders had secured his first successful franchise in Salt Lake City, Utah. Pete Harmon, a restaurant owner, partnered with him. Together, they branded the business Kentucky Fried Chicken. This marked the true beginning of what would soon become a global empire. Harmon introduced the famous bucket meal, serving fried chicken in paper buckets, a clever marketing idea that boosted sales dramatically. Families loved the convenience, and soon Kentucky Fried Chicken became a household name. Sanders' dream was no longer just food. It was now a strong brand. Franchises began spreading rapidly across the United States. By 1960, Sanders had more than 400 outlets nationwide. He personally traveled to each new franchise, teaching owners the recipe and quality standards. His dedication and strictness ensured that every KFC tasted the same across America. Sanders, always wearing his white suit and black tie, became a walking advertisement. People instantly recognized him. His image wasn't just a logo. It symbolized trust, quality, and tradition. The Colonel persona helped turn Kentucky Fried Chicken into a brand loved across generations. By the mid-1960s, Kentucky Fried Chicken became one of the fastest-growing franchises in America. Sanders, once a poor struggler, was now celebrated as a symbol of American success. Newspapers and magazines featured his story, inspiring thousands with his late-life journey from failure to fortune. In 1964, Sanders decided to sell his company to a group of investors led by John Y. Brown and Jack Massey. The deal was worth $2 million, making Sanders wealthy. However, he kept the role of brand ambassador, still traveling to promote KFC worldwide. Even after selling, Sanders stayed deeply involved. He insisted KFC maintain his original recipe and high standards. But as the company expanded rapidly, conflicts began. He criticized changes in food quality and business decisions, often clashing with the new owners over his beloved creation. Despite tensions, Sanders' image continued to bring customers. He toured internationally, opening KFC branches in Canada, the UK, and beyond. Wherever he went, crowds gathered to see the smiling old Colonel. He had become not only a businessman but also a cultural icon worldwide. By the 1970s, KFC had grown into a billion-dollar empire with thousands of outlets. Sanders, once broke and hopeless, was now recognized everywhere as the smiling Colonel. Yet behind the fame, conflicts with the company grew deeper, setting the stage for future legal battles. Sanders had finally achieved global recognition, but peace still escaped him. The company he created with sweat and tears now began opposing his views. Soon, disagreements would escalate into lawsuits, proving that even extraordinary success cannot shield one from personal struggles and painful bad. By the late 1970s, Sanders grew increasingly frustrated with the direction KFC was taking. He openly criticized the company, calling the food the worst fried chicken he had ever seen. His sharp words shocked the public, but revealed his anger toward declining quality standards. The new owners, angered by Sanders' remarks, decided to take legal action. They claimed his statements damaged the company's reputation and profits. Suddenly, the man who created KFC was now battling lawsuits from the very empire that carried his name across the world. Sanders argued fiercely that he had every right to protect the integrity of his recipe. To him, KFC was more than a business, it was his life's work. He claimed the new management had betrayed his vision, and his fight became deeply personal. The lawsuits drew heavy media attention. Newspapers covered the strange story, the founder of KFC fighting the company he created. Many sympathized with Sanders, viewing him as an old man defending his legacy against corporate greed. The conflict soon became a nationwide spectacle. At times, Sanders' criticism went beyond food. He accused executives of greed and dishonesty, saying they cared more about profits than customers. Such statements fueled more anger in the boardroom, intensifying the legal battles. Each side was determined not to back down easily. The court battles dragged on, draining Sanders emotionally. Despite being wealthy, he admitted feeling betrayed by the very company he nurtured. To the public, his story symbolized the timeless struggle between individual creators and giant corporations who often seize control of their legacies. By the early 1980s, Sanders' health began declining. Yet, he remained active in interviews, repeating his disappointment with KFC's changes. Even as illness weakened him, he insisted that his original recipe and standards of quality were what made Kentucky Fried Chicken truly special. Colonel Sanders passed away in 1980 at the age of 90. Millions mourned him, remembering not just the taste of his chicken, but the grit of a man who built an empire from nothing and defended his principles until his final breath. Even after Sanders' passing, his face remained on every KFC logo. The smiling colonel in a white suit became more than an image. It turned into a timeless symbol of hospitality, quality, and persistence. His presence continues to welcome millions into KFC restaurants worldwide. KFC expanded rapidly beyond America, from Asia to Europe, Africa to the Middle East. Outlets opened everywhere. Each carried the Colonel's legacy, serving fried chicken with 11 secret herbs and spices. His dream of sharing Kentucky's flavor had finally conquered the entire world. Today, KFC operates in more than 150 countries with over 25,000 outlets. Every day, millions enjoy his recipe, often without realizing the incredible struggle behind it. The empire that began with one man's roadside kitchen now feeds families across continents, cultures, and generations. Sanders' story teaches us resilience. He failed countless times, lost jobs, businesses, and even faced rejection at old age, yet he refused to surrender. His journey reminds us that success is not about age, but about relentless belief and unwavering determination. The court battles, though painful, revealed Sanders' true spirit. He never chased money alone, he wanted his chicken to taste right. In a world where companies often compromise for profit, Sanders stood as a reminder that values matter just as much as wealth. Generations later, entrepreneurs still draw inspiration from his journey. Sanders proved that even at 65, a man could start fresh and build an empire. His story is taught in business schools, quoted in speeches, and remembered as one of history's most powerful comebacks. KFC's red and white stores, the aroma of fried chicken, and the smiling colonel on posters keep his memory alive. Every bucket sold carries his spirit. Customers may not know every detail, but they taste the legacy of a man who refused defeat. Colonel Sanders' name remains inseparable from Kentucky Fried Chicken. Unlike many founders forgotten by history, his image and story are tied permanently to the brand. For millions, he is not just the man in the logo, but the soul behind every crispy bite. His journey proves success is not about how early you start, but how strongly you finish. Sanders showed that dreams have no expiry date. Whether young or old, determination can rewrite destiny. His empire remains proof that persistence always triumphs over failure. So, next time you see the smiling face on a KFC bucket, remember this: behind that image lies the extraordinary story of a poor boy from Kentucky who endured failures, built an empire, fought for his values, and left a legacy that still inspires. If you enjoyed our video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, comment below with the name of your country and tell us where you're watching from. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.